In this video we're going to take a look at the threshold detail. So to start off with, we'll take a look at what's in the workbook, and we can see here that we have our top of our hardcore and our ground line would be kind of matching up, and up here we have the details around where the door meets and with the inside floor. So a large piece of concrete here, and we can see that there's concrete coming right up into that there. So really and truly that's a cold bridge that's there, and there'll be a very high risk of condensation. Even though there's a thermal break shown on the inside here, that's coming to the inside of the building, and definitely not a good detail that's shown there. So I've sketched up an alternative to this here. Again, our usual stuff, our 350 wall and our foundation, the 3 times the width of this here. So we know how to draw all these things at this stage, and the usual kind of things here in line, 100mm blocks. And you can see here where I have the line shown across here with where the top of our DPM is, our radon barrier, and top of the sand blind is kind of in line with the bottom of that in situ concrete piece there at the door threshold. In this detail, you can see though we have the blue DPC around the in situ concrete, and there's a channel, a drainage channel outside of that there. There will be hardcore that's placed underneath that concrete as well too. It will be compacted, and we have a door, an insulated door, a thermal break in the top of the frame, and we have a lintel up here. This lintel would change in size depending on what's above that there. So the smallest lintel would be maybe a 100 by 75, more likely to be 100 by 100. And then if it was carrying a bit more weight, you'd be 150, 100 by, or 150 by 100. And the DPC, the red line that you see here, would be actually left hanging down onto the door, would be fitted, and then the insulation would be pushed up to meet that. And there's a small piece squeezed in at the edge of that there, and the DPC would normally be about 600mm, and it can be trimmed off then where the reveal is out here at the end, and that lets us into the start of this here. So we start by drawing our foundation and setting out the wall on it. Project all your lines up in that there, and as usual we'll go for something like 600 there for up to the ground line, and our sand blinding, and we can put where the DPM is going to go, and 100mm insulation, and the 100mm slab. Well, you could increase that to 150, but that gives us the top of where the concrete in situ threshold is, and I'm just colouring in the small threshold that's at the bottom of the door. It can't be more than 15mm, and the maximum slope at the top of the concrete as well, the in situ concrete, cannot exceed 15 degrees. So it means that if water comes up towards the threshold, that it's not level, it's running away from that into the proprietary drainage channel. I'm putting in the detail from all my bits of concrete, and I'm drawing in the detail of the frame, the door frame here. Door frame has to come in line with the internal side of the external block, so it cannot go past that. And obviously there's a DPC that runs right up along that at the edge and along the top as well too, which is a stepped DPC. So sticking in the usual details for the insulation, put it up here, and we want to take a look at where our stepped DPC would be going. So the red line shown there, it would be probably placed on a soap bar, which would be placed across the top of the lintel. And like I said, it's fitted afterwards. The DPC is fitted while it's being built, and then the insulation is pushed up before the door frame is fitted. It will be hanging loose. Most likely best to push a bit of insulation in it to keep it from getting damaged. And usual details, hardcore here. And outside of that there, few kind of details we haven't come across before, putting in a door, basically a rectangle with a rectangle inside of that there, showing colouring in yellow where the thermal break would be. There would be insulation in that there. You could have a number of variations in that there, where you would have, plywood panels covered in PVC and insulation sandwiched between those. So it's quite easy for us to get away with drawing that there as long as we label it. And showing our hardcore here, which will be compacted. These sizes could be increased depending on what sort of weights are above that. Put in all your guidelines for your details. Put in plenty of them. They're easily rubbed out when they're drawn light. and just start working your way around all your different details. You can see I've pulled out my sketch there to make sure that I'm putting everything into this. Some of the usual details. The only thing now that maybe I haven't highlighted would be where there might be air tightness tape. So obviously a door frame going into an opening, around that whole opening there would have to be air tightness tape. So a simple broken line can be shown or used to show where air tightness tape would be. Some people will say at where the door threshold meets the internal floor, there might be the likes of a channel here, or a transition plate. Depends on what the floor is finished on. There really isn't it isn't necessary for a door saddle. A floor finish can be finished right up to the same height as the threshold, so it'll be level with it, but not exceeding the 15mm when you meet it from the outside. And I have my broken line in for a broken green line with pen and for the air tightness tape. And I think that's pretty close to all the details there. You can pause this when it's finished and take a look to see that you have all the details in this. There could be alternative arrangements for a drawing the way it's met at the threshold. That's what I've come up with.